Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The RAM Show. It is July 23rd, 2017. Welcome into The RAM Show. Sorry, we're a little late this week. Computer issues, as usual. I'm going to bring in Zach now. Zach, how's it going?
Hi.
Oh, great. Your audio sounds just great at the moment. Hopefully that all sorts itself out. So, anyway, nothing can ever just decide to want to work the way it's supposed to, which is totally awesome. My whole system decided it wanted to, freeze up on me, which, is that what it's doing now, or is it just being dumb? Oh, how often does this happen to you? The Corsair utility engine just stops working?
Every time I open it, it is just so slow and unresponsive. And it fixes just fine with a restart, but
Yeah,
I mean, I
exactly.
basically never
So,
open
like,
it, so
I have a custom profile set up for Word where my keyboard just defaults to blue because I wanted like just a single straight color, something that wasn't really going to distract me. Um, and every time I open Word, it does it. I just tried to switch profiles to one that I have set up for the RAM show, and it just completely crashed on me. Like, I wish they would fix it so that it didn't do that every time. It'd be really nice. Alrighty, there we go. Back up and running with that. Like, I got it to switch to the gaming profile that I have set up, and then it would not switch to the RAM show one. It was wonderful. Anyway,
see, I never switch, so I don't have that problem.
you just keep it the same, don't you? For the most part, you like switch it up every now
Yeah,
and
I
then.
just keep a preset on because it looks all right. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't care for the highlighted keys and stuff, though. I know where my keys are.
Uh well, it's nice for like stuff like the RAM show or when I'm
Oh,
working in certain
hang on. You
programs.
you know it can automatically switch, right? Does
Yeah,
it just sometimes not work?
no, like so it is automatically set to switch. Like when I used to have it set up for Adobe Edition to like highlight certain keys. I don't have that set up anymore. But like when I open Word, it's supposed to default the keyboard just to a straight blue color. But half the time it like crashes, or recently it's been crashing. They sent an update out like the other day, so I don't know if that's what the problem is, and they need to fix it. That would be nice. But anyway, we'll get rid of that. So I hate clutter on my desktop, and I hate when there's stuff in my recycling bin. But you know what the problem is? When I go to empty it, I always end up hitting pin to start menu. Oh, so annoying. Anyway, oops, wrong
See, you
folder.
know you can just remove the recycle bin from your desktop, right? I forget
So
what it is, but you can basically
yeah,
disable displaying of every icon and it will go away.
for some reason, like the recycling bin, and this probably goes back to my days of Mac, because that's what I grew up with in school, where like there were hardly any icons on there, but the recycling bin always was. So I'm always fine with the recycling bin.
I mean, I don't know. I got used to it after a while, but once I realized I could get rid of it, I was like, yeah, I can do without it.
I never got into that everything. So, one thing I could not stand though was like when like back in the older days, and I think you could probably still do it, was when there was an option to like have like the my computer, my music, like all those folders on the desktop. Absolutely hated that. Like couldn't stand it at
Is
all.
this on Mac?
No, no, no. This is on PC.
Are you talking about on Mac?
No, no,
Because I
no.
don't know what you're talking about,
I'm
actually.
talking on PCs. Where like this was like a feature back in like the older days, like the 98, 97 era.
Oh,
But or
all right. Yeah.
97. Unless
Windows.
Mike, yeah, unless Microsoft built Windows 97 and never released it, that never existed. Anyway, so why don't we hang on one second here? Ah, oh, nobody cares. My phone went off. It's that ooh, what happened kind of thing. Um, anyway, so I was telling Zach before this I was hanging out with some friends out on the water. What a fun time! I haven't had a chance to put my phone back in my pocket. Anyway, moving on. So I don't know if you saw, but we'll get into our first topic right away. Razer is thinking about making a phone for gamers, possibly.
What?
Yeah, Razer.
I just want to know what exactly is it going to do that's different?
I'm wondering if it'll have like high. I don't know on specs or
Are you
anything.
talking about like people who play phone games?
I have no idea. Well, since it's Razer, I would imagine it's people like higher end games kind of thing. I don't know though.
Well, I mean, all right, I guess.
So this
I
is
wouldn't really have any interest in that, but
so
all
this
right.
is I'm sure it would be running Android, or possibly I would imagine it's going to be Android. But Razer is interested in building a smartphone for here it is for gamers. So there you go, Zach. According to a report from Bloomberg, the company is planning an IPO in Hong Kong later this year that could value its business at $5 billion. It will reportedly use some of the funds to build its smartphone. And that news isn't surprising given that Razer acquired the smartphone company Nextbit, which I've never ever heard of before. Have you?
No.
They acquired it earlier this year. Ryzen said Nextbit would operate as an independent company at the time of the acquisition, but hasn't said much publicly about it since.
Did you just say Ryzen?
Did I? I might have.
You did.
Well, I'm thinking about Ryzen. There actually is a story about Ryzen in the RAM show this week. Anyway, there's a lot of questions, of course, to be answered. Like what the specs are going to look like. Including whether the gaming-centric smartphone will come out under the Nextbit or Razer brand, and whether the company can even sell enough of them to make it worthwhile. Razer isn't planning to IPO until around October, so we likely won't see the device until 2018 at the earliest.
So here's what this makes me think of.
Okay.
This makes me think of the they have a tablet, like a Windows tablet for gaming, quote unquote. I mean, I read up a little bit on it because I was curious, and I don't know, it didn't seem like much.
Okay.
But they do have one. It's Windows though, so I mean, I guess I don't know. It's not really the same.
Well, I would imagine they build Windows machines, so. Hang on.
But yeah, it was kind of like I guess kind of like a Surface almost, just maybe a little bulkier, supposedly designed for gaming, which doesn't really make much sense to me because, well, I mean, the battery life predictably did suck, but like, I don't know, if the battery life isn't very good, then why not just have a laptop, you know?
Yeah. Well,
And
go ahead.
you don't get a keyboard and mouse either. Like, what?
Yeah.
I guess it was kind of a sort of novel idea that I really don't see any use.
Your push to talk sucks again this week, dude.
Why? Oh my god. Whatever.
I love this. I'm looking at pictures of this. It literally looks like somebody took like an iPhone and slapped a Razer logo on it. Here.
Where do you see that?
Up on like hang on. Let me throw this up on the screen. On Google. I wanted to see if we could find some specs for it. Like this one literally, yeah, it's literally an iPhone because it's got the iPhone button at the bottom with like Razer's logo on it.
I think it's too early for specs.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know, like if they were maybe. I think you're right though. Now, okay, so here's my question. Like, what are they going to put in? Well, and you brought up a good point too. What exactly, like, what games you're going to be playing on it, and, like, what is the hardware going to look like in it? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, if it's a phone, it's almost certainly going to be an ARM processor. But that's, I mean, several vendors make them. And, I mean, I'm not really well versed on them either. So for all I know, it could be anything. I am not at all. So I don't know.
It makes me wonder because I'm like,
would probably be something like a phone that's specifically designed to have high hardware specs, and
Yeah, and knowing Razer, I would imagine that they're going to put like um, higher end um, uh, hardware in it. That's the word I'm looking for. Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So I don't know. What do you?
oh, okay, I guess that's
Oh, what
good
do
to
you think
know.
though? Do you think? And this is what it says. Let's see. Do you think they're going to be successful in selling enough of them to actually make it worthwhile?
I don't know. I've never even heard anyone say they wanted a phone for gaming. So
Yeah, exactly. Well, you just don't think about it. I don't know if there's
why
going.
would you really phone for gaming?
I don't
What?
know. I don't. Well, it says it's a phone for gamers, so I don't know if you're going to be gaming on it,
Oh,
or
yeah,
if the
okay. But if
if
it's not for actually playing games on, then what exactly are you going to do with it?
well, it has the Razer name on it, and it's probably going to have a better set of hardware in it, and that's yeah. If it's not built for gaming, that's what I can see. Possibly, I don't know, but
I guess we'll eventually find out.
yeah, if it's even a thing that's going to
Well,
happen.
yeah, if it even comes around, maybe we will.
So, yeah. Anyway, next topic. Moving on. Um, and I want to get your opinion on this, Chief of Hardware. Lenovo is releasing a laptop for gaming for just $599, so $600. And I'll throw up what it looks like here. It looks like it's got. I don't know if it has like mechanical keys in it or not, but it looks like it is RGB, and it looks like it might just be a solid red. So actually, it wouldn't be
So
RGB;
then,
it'd
not
be
RGB?
LED. Yeah.
Yeah, LED, LED. They're
Um,
almost always LED, but I mean, these days you're finding more and more laptops with the actual RGB instead of one color.
yeah. Do you have the article pulled up, Zach, or
Yes, I
not?
do.
When was it? What day was that?
July 19th. I don't know what day that was.
That would have been Wednesday. So Wednesday is when this came out. It's a 14-inch IdeaPad Y700 laptop for just $599, $600. If you are interested, the discount code is Summer Savings, all in capital letters. Although I don't know if that's actually case sensitive or not. And you're instantly going to save $200 off of the standard price. So what are we
Okay,
looking
wait.
at?
So what's in it?
Inside the little gaming laptop features a 6th generation 2.3 gigahertz quad core Intel Core i5 6300 HQ CPU, a discrete AMD Radeon R9 M375 graphics card with
Okay, here.
4
Hold up a
gigabytes of
second.
memory.
Quad core. Are we sure that is quad core? Mobile i3s or i5s are usually not. They're usually dual core hyper threaded.
Well, it gives you the model of the CPU there. i5 6300 HQ.
All
That's
right,
your
time for a trip to ARC.
Yeah, that is your department. Anyway, the rest of the specs that it claims to have a terabyte
It
five.
actually is. Okay, good.
Let's see.
Good enough.
It contains a terabyte 5400 RPM hard drive and a 128 gigabyte solid state drive, 8 gigs of RAM, Bluetooth 4.0, and 802.11 BGN and AC Wi-Fi support. Oh,
So here's
and,
something I don't know
and the
is
14-inch device or
how this
display.
graphics card performs. I mean, like AMD graphics cards have very little presence in laptops, so I don't really know anything about this. I'd have to check
Yeah,
some
they're
benchmarks.
usually GeForce cards, aren't they?
Yeah, usually. Although
It's
there have been a few more come around that have had Polaris in them.
huh. It sports an anti-glare coating, in-plane switching. What the heck is in-plane switching?
Oh, in IPS, right? Okay. In pane switching. That's a type of display.
No, plane. PLANE, not pane.
Oh wait, is it actually?
in
Right.
plane switching. Does that mean like you can
I'm
like?
terrible at reading.
Does that mean you can like turn the whole display around or something?
No, no, no. It's a type of display panel.
Huh. Okay. And of course, well, it's not 4K. It's 1920 by 1080, so full
And that's
HD.
fine on a laptop, especially a 14-inch one. Why does everyone want a 4K screen on their tiny laptop? I don't understand.
Because 4K is the new shiny right now.
I guess.
Well, that and the OLED and can you even put an OLED panel in like a laptop?
I mean, sure you can. You can put
Yeah,
whatever you
you're
want.
probably right. Yeah.
It'll be expensive for sure. Yeah.
Of course, HDMI port on the side, so you can enjoy your 1080p gaming experience on your HD TV or PC monitor as well. So, of course, comes preloaded with Windows 10, only the Home Edition, 64-bit, of course. But you're gonna have access to all the new gaming-focused features coming out of Redmond. So DirectX 12, Xbox One crossplay, which you care nothing about. Local Xbox One game streaming. Again, you care nothing about that either, Zach. And game DVR are built right into the operating system.
That's part of the push for Xbox and Windows games to be more closely tied.
You know what?
Microsoft.
You are right. You
like
are
nowadays,
exactly right.
if you buy Xbox, you can buy an Xbox exclusive game and play it on Windows 10. Only Windows 10 though, which I find we really have to do that. I mean, it's a step up from what we had before, which is, the trash exclusives where you could only play them on, so and so's console. Like, really?
It's funny. So
it's a step up, but I think really it should be. You should be able to play them on whatever you want, but
okay. So
go ahead.
Speaking of Microsoft here, jumping ahead just a little bit here, quick little tease. So if you're looking at the rundown, A3, you'll be interested to know what's in the Microsoft news this week. A feature that is now a part of this show because it's become a staple kind of thing. We have to talk about what Microsoft is doing this week. But yeah, it's kind of funny. Anyway, back to this. So this says, by all accounts, this is the best version of Windows for gamers. It weighs in at less than 5 pounds. So they managed to cram all that stuff in there, make it weigh less than 5 pounds. But it's certainly not aimed at the ultrabook market. But I don't think any gaming laptop is.
Well, there are a few, but they do have to make sacrifices to get there.
Of course, yeah. You're not going to be able to probably fit the nice graphics card in there, are you?
Well, you can. You just usually where you pay is cooling, and often these cards will power throttle very quickly.
Makes sense, yeah. I got a question for you since we're talking about like that stuff right now. So one of my friends, her cousin, is living with her aunt, my friend's aunt. So anyway, I got a text early last week on Monday, hi, can I buy your time? So, my friend's cousin's daughter, had locked the iPad that my friend had given her, and so she wanted me to come over and help and stuff like that. So anyway, I went over. Turns out all we need to do is put in the Apple ID password and yada yada. We were good. But so my friend's aunt brought her laptop out. She said the fan had broken inside of it, it wasn't working anymore. So I don't know if it died or what exactly happened, but she said that the computer would run for a while and then it would just shut down. So my guess is that the CPU is overheating.
100%.
Which this is the wonderful thing about computers though, is while it's annoying, it saves your CPU.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's better than burning out your stuff.
So,
but now again, you might even be able to fix that. It depends on the model.
Yeah, so, and that's what I told them. I was like, well, and she asked me, she's like, so is it worth fixing it, or should I just get a new laptop? And I looked at the specs. They weren't the greatest. Core i3, I don't remember what generation. I
I mean, what's it used for? Is it just for browsing the internet,
Yeah, exactly.
watching videos?
Yeah,
It's fine,
exactly.
probably.
Like browsing the internet, watching
Really need a
videos,
new
and
one.
schoolwork. Yeah, and that's what I told them. I was like, had it had like a dual core in it? I think it was a quad core. I'm pretty sure it was quad core.
No, there is no such thing as a quad-core i3.
Is there not? Maybe it was a dual core. Okay,
No,
anyway.
they're all dual-core HT, but whatever, it's fine. Even a dual, whatever, it doesn't matter. You're
See,
browsing
Yeah, and see,
Facebook.
this is
You
why.
don't need cores for that.
Yeah, exactly. This is why Zach is the hardware, chief of hardware, and I'm not.
That sounds like such a pretentious title,
Chief
love
of
it.
hardware.
Fantastic.
Well,
Look at me, I'm important.
you are important. I don't feel comfortable calling myself CEO, so I just call myself president.
I think president does sound a little less pretentious.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. Technically, TechB Media doesn't actually really exist as a company yet, so that's why I decided to go with the term president.
It doesn't need to exist yet.
Hopefully at some point it will. Oh yeah, by the way, I should have done this at the beginning.
And one can dream.
But thank you so much for, what are we up to? 31 subscribers so far. So keep it up. If you love the content that we produce, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Anyway, back to this. So we already established it weighs less than 5 pounds. So the combination of a quad-core Skylake processor and a respectable mid-range graphics cards makes this portable powerhouse a steal at just the $600 price point. Unless you're willing to drop, of course, over $1,000 for a high-end gaming laptop, they say this model, or this mobile gaming rig from Lenovo is pretty hard to beat. Now, this is where you come in, Zach. What do you think of the price?
I'm currently Googling just how does this card perform. It really all depends on that. If it's a decently performing card, if it performs, sort of kind of in line with like a 1050, maybe it could probably afford to even be a little lesser than that given what this thing costs. But if it can come even close to that, this isn't a terrible deal at all.
Wonderful. I just wish I kind of had the money to do it right now, because if it is a decent computer, I'd be like, oh hey, I would love to have a nice, and that's what I want. I love my Mac and stuff like that, but I do want a decent gaming laptop, so I have a decent. I want to build Redmond, my super over the top content creation system at some point, hopefully next year. And then I would love to have a portable machine to go with it, so I can have something, with the power to do video editing and, 3D rendering and things like that on the go. So, which would be wonderful. And of course, I see all the big, tech people with their Razer laptops.
All right, so here's something that's a little disappointing, is that it actually is slightly lesser than the 960M. If 2 minutes of Googling is to be believed.
So,
Which,
you know what?
I don't know. It's not terrible.
Here's a better
It
comparison.
really depends what you want to do with it.
So for gaming, what would you say? Yes?
Say what?
Well, okay, so based off of what you've seen, for gaming, is it a decent graphics card?
I mean, do you want to play the big budget AAA games, or do you want to play less demanding games?
Okay, fine. How about this? Because I know this is a demanding game, GTA 5.
No.
Okay.
I mean, it would run, sure. I don't think it would be amazing, though.
What are we talking for FPS?
Well, I mean, it would definitely run. It can run on way less than that. Because, they actually made an optimized game there. Holy crap, right? But
Yeah, it takes advantage of hyper-threading, doesn't it?
yes. It would really depend what kind of performance you're looking for. If you can accept, turning down settings to get 60 FPS or just play at 30, yeah, it's fine.
So, okay, for the, maybe not super serious gamer, but not the beginner gamer, so someone in the mid-range, what would you say? Is it a decent
I don't
rig.
really know enough about it to even. I would not trust my opinion right now. I think that's probably all I got. Like. I don't know anything about what this graphics card can do. It does have 4 GB though. I'll give it that.
All right. Well, do your research. We've given you the information. If you're in the market for a gaming laptop, maybe it's something to check out.
I mean, it's definitely a reasonable price though.
Here's my question, and again, knowing that you don't know much about the GPU.
I know very loosely where it sits.
So for me as a content creator, doing rendering videos out, not at 4K because we don't have a 4K camera, but 1080p.
Let me put it this way: it would do better than what you have.
Well, anything I think modern is going to do better than what I have with a Q66 and
not necessarily, but mostly, yeah.
So, all right, moving into the Microsoft news for this week, our favorite segment where we what I originally thought this segment was going to be was us just ripping on Microsoft, but what I found out is that they don't always do something stupid every week. So I try to find the stupidest story I can find and then pass it along. So, anyway, so I thought this was interesting. So Microsoft, since the inception of Windows 10, has been trying to shove it down our throats, right?
Yes.
Well, now Microsoft says that they are going to be preventing PCs with Intel Atom Clover Trail processors from obtaining the latest Windows 10 Creators updates. So they're saying, no more Windows 10 updates for you.
I wonder why.
Well, I thought this was funny because it's like, oh, we got to get Windows 10 on as many devices as possible. I guess technically...
They require additional hardware support, evidently. And they are too lazy to provide that.
Okay, how much of it is laziness and how much of it is just like BS, I guess?
I don't know. I mean, I guess they probably just took a look and were like, this isn't worth the effort.
Oh, that could be. Now, remember, back when Skylake was coming out, or was it Skylake or the Kaby Lake? I think it was Kaby Lake. Processors were coming out. They were saying that that you could not run any other version of Windows besides Windows 10 on Kaby Lake processors, I think it was.
Yeah.
Which is, again, complete BS because, like, there really is no difference in the architecture of the operating systems, as far as I understand.
Also, the CPUs are very similar.
Yeah.
It's very similar to Skylake.
That was a push on Microsoft's end to get more people on Windows 10. I can imagine.
I mean, yeah, there's no question about that. They could have definitely made it work. They just wanted more people on Windows 10.
So anyway, while many devices with Intel Atom Clover Trail chips were released in the Windows 8 era, Microsoft offered a free Windows 10 upgrade to keep the tablet or laptop hybrids up to date. Now, ZDNet revealed earlier this week that compatible drives are preventing owners from updating to the Windows 10 Creators Update, and Microsoft has now confirmed to The Verge that it no longer supports Intel Atom Clover Trail processors for its latest Windows 10 update. So, okay, I do have to give Microsoft props here for not just being like, oh, it must be a bug. Like, they're actually admitting it. Anyway. But yeah, you're right. So,
fair enough, I guess.
So you're right. They require additional hardware support to provide the best possible experience when updating to the latest Windows 10 feature update. You know what? That sounds oddly familiar to, the reason you can't run any other operating system on Kaby Lake processors is because we want you to have the best experience possible.
No, they don't. They don't care about that.
No, they want as many people on the Windows 10 platform as they possibly can because numbers.
I mean,
numbers are important.
Yeah, I guess.
I think I still have it actually. Where is it? I don't know how current this still is. But let me open this up here real quick. So this was made a while ago. This might have even been when is this from?
4 days old if you're talking about this
No,
version.
no, 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 no. This graphic that I made. So I made this back in, looks like May, either March or May, one or the other. Anyway, so this is a representation of the desktop OS market share. So this has Windows 7 making up almost 50%, 48.41%. Windows 10 is the second largest chunk at 25.19%. What do you think is after that, Zach? You'd be surprised, maybe.
I guess I was about to say Mac, but I don't know. I don't think so.
XP.
Is it 8? Oh, it's XP. Yeah, okay. Should have figured it would be something like.
Yeah. At the time of making this graphic, so XP was at 8.45%. Windows 8.1 took up about 7%, 6.87. Mac OS X was at 2.91. Linux made up about 2%. Windows 8, like the first Windows 8, a mere 1.65%. Wah, wah, wah.
Well, that's probably because most of the people who had it upgraded to 8.1.
That actually probably is true. And Windows 8 kind of sucked. And then others sitting at 4.47%. So, but Windows 7 still making up the majority of the market share, at least when this graphic was made, and I'm sure it still is, of Windows market share, or of the desktop market share. There we go. So, I would imagine that Microsoft was pretty butthurt about that, and still is. Actually, they are, because, the whole, we got to get as many people on Windows 10 as we possibly can. That's why I thought it was comical that they're not going to be updating these devices. So, anyway. Now, Microsoft says it will be offering the older Windows 10 anniversary update to Intel Clover Trail devices instead, and the company is going to provide security updates to these specific devices running the Windows 10 anniversary update until January of 2023. So you still got time. And of course, by that time,
hopefully
I'm sure
you get off of that platform by then, because Intel Atom is not really known for good things anymore.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, by that time, by 2023, those devices are going to be pretty outdated. Especially in the world of
They
tech.
almost already are.
Yeah, and that's the thing. In the tech world, things move super quickly. Anyway, so this date actually does align with the original Windows 8.1 extended support period, which means that these older devices will still be supported with security updates, but no new Windows 10 updates. What do you think about this? This says Intel's Atom processors were supposed to offer better battery life for smaller and cheaper tablets and laptops running Windows 8.1.
Wait, hold on. Say that again?
It says Intel Atom processors were supposed to offer better battery life for smaller and cheaper tablets and laptops.
Well, I mean, I'm going to go with mostly the cheaper part, because the Core M lineup, also designed for better battery life and things like that, is just flat out better.
Yeah, and this
in
even
most
says...
cases.
Yeah, this even says a lack of good performance meant consumers decided to purchase Intel's Core series machines, and Intel eventually gave up on the Atom last year.
Yeah, the line is basically dead.
So, anyway, so that's the end of the Microsoft news for this week. So I wouldn't necessarily maybe say something stupid, but something interesting, I guess. At least to me it was. So I was thinking about this the other day, and I wanted to bring it up. So, I don't remember what made me think of it. I think it was a story that we were running on the news. Anyway, I made the comment, and I actually love to do this, is to just take a camera, go downtown, and ask people, like, walk up to people and be like, okay, so you've heard of the cloud before. Where is the cloud? And watch where people point or what they say.
Wow. mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know. How many people do you think know what that is?
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, the cloud is not this thing above your head. The cloud is. I think we've even talked about this before, but the cloud is a major cluster of computers and network switches and routers and cables and yada yada yada.
Basically, someone else's computer.
Exactly. Yeah. Um. Oh, you know what? It might have been a story about like Apple or something like that. Anyway. Um. But something interesting happened. So, um, I don't remember exactly how the conversation progressed into it. Um, but oh yeah, so it started with me, mentioning that whole like I would love to go do that kind of thing. Um, and the individual responded to me, and she's like, uh, "Well, isn't the cloud, like back at Apple?" And I was like, "Well, possibly. They probably have data centers all over the place and everything." Anyway, it got to this whole, and I thought this was very tinfoil hat, where the individual said, um, "I really don't care what happens to my data." Like, is it just me, or is that super tinfoil hat? Like, if I'm
I
putting
think you've
my
got the wrong idea of tinfoil hat. Tinfoil hat is like conspiracy theories and stuff like that.
oh, you know what? You might be right. Okay, yeah. Anyway, okay. Well, anyway, my point is that very like average consumer thinking kind of thing? Like, oh, I'm just uploading. I have my iCloud. My data goes up to wherever, and I don't really care what happens to it at that point.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, I remember what the story was. We were talking about cannabis, and do I need to explain that to you, or you understand what cannabis is?
I know what it is. I'm not stupid.
Well, okay.
Are you serious?
The first time
How dense do you think I am?
I don't know. Well, the first time I heard the word cannabis, I didn't know what it was because I'd never actually heard that term before. Uh, anyway, I thought I'd
Well,
just
okay.
check. Anyway, so yeah, it was a story about how you could like buy cannabis on what was it? Snapchat. Well, Facebook and like people are selling it on Snapchat because it quote unquote goes away. Even though we know that is complete BS because nothing that you put on the internet that you delete ever like goes
No, it
away.
doesn't. I guarantee everything is on their servers. I
Like
guarantee.
yeah, so it's just funny, but that's what I said, and that's what I think. Like that is a I think, very amateur, like average consumer kind of thought, where it's like, well, not only that, if I delete it, it's gone. No, that's not how it works, and I really don't care what happens to the data. But maybe I'm just maybe I just care about my privacy more than other people do. And if you're one
I
of those
care for
people,
it too.
you know what though? Here's the thing: if you're one of those people, I envy you just a little bit because I wish I
I'm
didn't
not.
care as
I'm
much.
not so paranoid to think that anything I ever upload to anywhere is going to get used against me or some crazy conspiracy like that. But like, I mean, yeah, I remember there was some case where some lady sued Facebook for using one of her pictures in some ad or whatever, and Facebook won because when you agree to the EULA, you agree to let them do whatever you want or whatever they want with stuff you
Exactly,
upload.
and
Like
they can.
once you upload something to them, they can do whatever they want with it. It doesn't matter how embarrassing it is to you or whatever.
And that's the thing; they can change that policy at any time. It even says it in there. You know what? So speaking of that, I heard this story the other day about like this person that would like take pictures from like one of the real estate websites, like Zillow or something like that. And like she had like a blog where she would like expose like I don't remember what they were called, but they were like fake or like cheaply made like mansions or something like that. It was like a trend, and like the website was trying to sue her over it, but I don't think it was going anywhere because like there were no
I
terms of
think I heard about that.
service or thing. Yeah, I don't remember where I heard it, but anyway, that was a thing that I heard the other
I don't
day.
think that's something you can realistically expect to sue someone for.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Moving on. So of course, Ryzen is a huge thing right now, and the new Ryzen chips are out. I think, aren't they?
I mean, the new ones.
Like the
They've been out. I mean,
have they been out for a while?
they've been out since February. I mean, at least Ryzen 7 is when is that? Bleh, it came out in February.
No, okay. Yeah. Well, I was talking the ones that we just like got specs for a couple weeks ago.
Oh, the threes.
Is that
Well,
what it is?
I mean, I don't believe those are out yet. They are. I forget when they said they wanted them to be hitting shelves. I think end of July even.
Anyway, there's been a lot of talk about AMD Ryzen, and they're the brand new hot chip on the market right now. This says, I don't mean in terms of the heat they produce, although I'm sure if you overclock them, they produce quite a bit of heat. Anyway, bad joke.
It really was.
AMD is back to offering competitive processors that undercut Intel on price. I was looking at processors the other day. Ryzen is actually looking like a really good deal.
It is.
In terms of what you're getting.
It really is. Especially with the threes are definitely intriguing because now you can have a quad-core, hyper-threaded, unlocked CPU for like even possibly a little less than the i5s that exist today.
Yeah, and Linus was talking about this. Linus and Luke were talking about it on the RAM show. I think it was last week because I haven't seen this week's. Or
That's
not the
not
RAM
what
show.
it's called.
The WAN show. The WAN show. I'm sorry. Hey, they're similar. We chose the RAM show because A, we didn't want to copy Linus, and well, it's completely random. That's true. Random access memory because this show is just completely random and a lot of it comes off my memory. Anyway, although we do have stuff written down. Honestly, that's what I was thinking when I was like, I want it to be computer based term because it just makes sense. That's what everyone else does, and I was like, random access memory. Hey, that fits. Anyway, but he was saying that the markup on Intel chips must be super super high because AMD's figuring out how to do this stuff for much cheaper cost. Anyway, getting back to this story though, as explained on Times Hardware, scammers are buying up stock of Ryzen processors and then replacing the chips before reselling them.
Huh.
Yeah.
So then what do you do with the ones you bought up?
I honestly don't know.
It's like, okay, so basically they're getting to sell this, crap CPU to some sucker, right? So they effectively sold an invaluable product to someone who thought it was valuable, but they still had to pay for the valuable product.
Okay.
They must get some return on that, right? If they're not, that's not a very good scam.
Well, okay, so there's a couple different ways. They're selling them on eBay, but then they're also returning them back to the store.
Oh, okay, right. That makes more sense now. So that's where they're going.
Yeah, exactly. So the heat spreader attached to the Ryzen chip is scanned, and a sticker created from that scan, and then a cheaper processor, such as an Intel Celeron or something like that, is then placed in the Ryzen box with the sticker attached, so it looks like the real thing.
Right, yeah, okay.
And maybe it's somebody that's I could see maybe in some cases where they're actually out to buy a Ryzen chip, and then they want to make their money back kind of thing. And that would be the eBay thing where they take their old processor then, and then slap the sticker on it and sell it up on eBay.
Yeah.
So with the Ryzen box resealed, it is offered for sale or returned to the store for a refund. And then as the box is sealed and the chip inside looks legit, everything seems fine until someone opens it and tries to, use the processor with an AMD socket, AM4 motherboard. Now the good thing is it won't fit, so you can't really do any damage.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but
I
don't. Well, no, there's some every now and then you'll come across someone whining about they bought something on Amazon, and they bought a graphics card, and it came with a crap graphics card in the box instead of what they ordered, because someone bought that, and then they put their old graphics card in the box and sent it back. So they basically, got a free upgrade, right? But evidently someone didn't check to see what was in the box is actually what is supposed to be in the box.
Yeah. Well, and I think like with you get, if you get like more of an average consumer, or especially like taking it back to the store, like for instance Best Buy, like think about how many people are actually going to probably catch that. Like a lot of the people working at Best Buy, I'm not going to say all, but like seem to be more on the kind of average consumerish side, or somewhat techie, but like not super techie.
Well, I mean, that's seems reasonable when it is more of an average Joe type of store.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm looking at this picture here. I should have sent. Well, these are up on the article, but it is literally an AMD box with what I'm guessing is a fake chip that says Ryzen on the top of it. So these fake processors are appearing on Amazon and eBay, according to Reddit. So it shouldn't be too hard to demand your money back and get that seller banned. Here's my question real quick here. And I'm looking at this last picture here. It actually looks like the box is sealed decently, so I don't know how they pulled that off. Anyway. Well, and I guess it wouldn't matter so much if you took it back to the store, because you could be like, yeah, just, I either, like, I bought it by accident, or...
If you bought it in a store, you can probably get your money back.
Yeah, or I didn't like it,
well,
or
like,
something
if
like
you
that.
bought it from someone on, like, Craigslist, well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
You're probably just screwed.
Amazon and eBay are pretty good about, like, figuring that stuff out. And in many cases, like, if you can't get stuff, like, resolved, they'll, like, just give you your money back. In fact, I just sold something on eBay the other day, and when the money got transferred into my PayPal account, I had to wait a while before I could actually like take that money and put it into my checkings account, or before they would even release it to me in like PayPal. So if you're if you do business more often and stuff like that, and you have good ratings, the money gets transferred a lot faster, I guess. So I'm sure that's how
that makes sense.
eBay protects themselves and things like that. Anyway, and this is the thing that I'm thinking about with this, is like, I feel like it'd be much easier to get away with it, like taking it back to the store. Because again, you're going to probably have some, underpaid individual that's like, oh, okay, fine, I'll just do the return. Yep, looks legit. Okay, call it good. Stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, if I was working behind the counter for minimum wage, I probably wouldn't care either.
Right? But, and this would be the thing, though. So what then happens to the next person who, is like, ooh,
Well, they probably get screwed over and end up taking it back because they got screwed over.
Yeah.
And given that the scammer probably is long gone, I doubt there's any way for them to get their money back.
That's probably true. Now, does the store believe the next person, though? Or are they like, yeah... Like, that's the thing.
That could be... Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking.
What if the person comes back and they say, well, hey, what if you put this in there so you could get your money back,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how that would work.
Well, although I don't know, though. Because, like, you would have...
I think the one thing that's safe to say is that if the scammer gets away with it the first time, they're probably gone scot-free.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no way that's gonna catch up with them, really.
I guess the thing I can see is, like, at least with, like, Best Buy, if you take something back, they'll, like, do, like, an open box thing, and they'll, like, deduct the price of it. And so I could maybe see that
Perhaps
scenario.
it would be sold as an open box item, and then if someone purchased said open box item and found out they got screwed over, the store might give them a little more leeway on it because, hey, it was an open box.
Yeah, exactly.
They may actually have a case. I don't know how that works, but...
No, I honestly don't either. But no, that's something interesting that I was thinking about the other day. So, moving on to our next topic here. This sounds intriguing to me, and also possibly. I hope technology gets better, but also possibly like could be exploited. I guess maybe. I don't know though. But Delta is rolling out a system that you can use your fingerprint as your boarding pass.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Customers flying Delta can now board using just their fingerprints at Reagan Washington National Airport if they wish.
Well, okay, I guess. Interesting.
It's not available for everyone. It's only available for customers who are members of Delta's loyalty program, SkyMiles, and who have enrolled in Clear, an expedited airport security program that costs $179 per year. Now, with that being said, then, I can maybe see why they would allow you to then use this new system. Because if you think about it, if you're trying to commit, like, if you're trying to do something illegal, I guess, you're probably not going to bother with the $179, thing, and not to mention you have to be a member of the SkyMiles and stuff, or loyalty member. So that's probably why they're only unveiling like this new, what I would imagine to be a very much prototype kind of thing.
I entirely see where you're coming from, but all right.
Well, what I'm saying
Like,
is
wait, what? If you're gonna,
so because it's a new.
all right, explain that again.
Because the system is like new and, I'm sure there are some bugs to work out and stuff like that, and of course security things. Because yes, while what are the chances of somebody getting my fingerprints? Yeah, but there's been talk about how like the fingerprint scanner in like the iPhone is not the greatest, and even in the Samsung Galaxy S8 is not the greatest. So like my question is like how good is the security? And then that's what I'm thinking is like that's the part that makes me a little like.
Well, I mean, I would hope it's good, but I don't know.
Yeah, but again, that's what we've heard.
I guess you never really know.
That's what we've heard. The ones in the in the iPhone aren't the greatest yet. So what I'm saying is while they're doing this, I can see like why they would only be allowing people in the clubs to do it and stuff like that. Because think about it, like if you're out to commit, or out to do something illegal or trying to commit an act of terror or something like that, I doubt you're going to be spending the money on the Clear thing, or even being enrolled in like SkyMile.
I mean, if they're going to do that, why can't they just board normally, right? That's
kind of the thing. Yeah,
seem like
it's
like
why
sense.
would you put the money in if you're just going to you're trying to figure out how to do it the easiest way possible, yada yada yada. So that was my point right there. Was while they're testing it, I can maybe see this being a better option instead of just letting everybody.
I think it's just a convenience thing. They're just like, hey, you can pay us for this convenience.
Yeah. Well, like what we were talking about was like, and we talked about this a while ago. Like they were going to start using facial recognition at like MSP possibly for like baggage checking and stuff like that. And I thought originally when I read it that it was going to be how you could like board and stuff like that, and I was like, ooh, that doesn't like. I can see a big security flaw here, and I can somewhat see maybe a little bit of a security flaw with this. Hopefully technology gets better, but anyway. So Delta started testing its biometric boarding procedure in May, and the fingerprint process allows customers to board an aircraft on either Delta Sky Club lounge without their ID and ticket. So less to have to worry about, less to have to carry around. The likelihood of you losing your fingerprints is pretty unlikely.
What probably happens is like you're already in their database. So when you scan yourself in, it considers that a valid identification.
Exactly. And this is the thing, though. That is where, how easy is it to trick the system? That's where I can see the security flaw being. Kind of thing.
I don't see that as a security flaw. They already know who you are in the database.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. You might be right though. I guess like I can see like somebody stealing your boarding pass being more of a thing because you've already
I
checked
mean,
in.
wouldn't that have your photo on it? I think it would be pretty obvious if
Your boarding
someone was
pass?
trying to board with a pass that didn't have their picture on it.
Oh, your boarding pass does not
Right?
have no. Your boarding pass doesn't have a picture on it. It has your name on it.
Oh,
So
well,
typically, what
okay,
you
I
do when
guess.
you get to the airport, what happens is you before you go through all the metal detectors and stuff like that, you stand in line. A TSA agent takes your ticket. They take your driver's license. They compare the two things, everything. So I don't know how that works with the anyway. I don't know. For some reason, when you start adding electronic stuff, there becomes the whole hackers and somebody's going to find a way to cheat the system and yada yada yada. I don't know. That's
I
just what
guess
I
I
think.
wouldn't be surprised if it happened, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it didn't.
Yeah, that's true. Now, biometric verification has a higher level of accuracy than paper boarding processes, and I can actually see this. It does give the agents more time to assist customers and stuff like that because they don't have to like stand there and scan boarding passes and yada yada yada. You just put your finger on the thing and call it good. And, yeah. Um, anyway, Delta says it's partnering with Clear to power the back end of its biometric boarding system, which at the moment is a pilot program. Let's see. Partnering with Clear has also made it more scalable, and the process could expand across Delta's domestic network in a matter of months. I don't know. I think it's an interesting idea. It'd be cool to see. I still wonder about the security risks in it, kind of maybe. How easy it is to, again, beat the system. So, I don't know. Something interesting to think about. Moving on. I think, I do, you know what, I think I'll touch on it. If you look at your rundown, Zach, there is a Z1. I think I'll touch on it real quick. Maybe. We'll see where we are after this topic here. Now, we talked about net neutrality last week, right?
Yes.
So, is Verizon throttling Netflix? Well, we're not sure. With net neutrality fresh on the minds of many in the United States, including ourselves, we talked about it last week, it seems that the data speeds at which Verizon Wireless customers can stream Netflix videos have quietly been capped in some instances.
Interesting. And very much unsurprising.
And very much illegal at this point under net neutrality.
However, yes, under the rules, that's a no. You can't do that.
So I wonder what...
I don't know if it can be conclusively proven. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see them get yelled at for this.
Well, yelled at and fined.
Hopefully both. Yeah.
Right? Now, this should just... And if this comes out to be true, this heightens the need for net neutrality so that this doesn't happen.
Again, like they say they don't want the rules because they weren't planning on breaking them anyway, but they already are breaking them. I don't understand.
We have not.
That's just wrong. They already are breaking the rules, and the rules aren't even gone.
Well, we have not confirmed.
Really?
We have not confirmed that they are, but there's good speculation that they are.
They are, and they have been caught doing so in the past as well.
Yeah, that is true. So I don't actually watch Netflix on my device, so I can't chime in on this. But
I don't either.
Anyway, where am I at? Captain. Okay, so a tipster directed The Verge to its Reddit thread, where numerous users have reported that they're unable to reach download speeds any faster than around 10 megabits per second when connected to when connecting to Netflix as well as fast.com. A speed test a speed test tool that's powered by Netflix. Oh my goodness, I can't talk. Netflix's servers. Jeez. Yeah. Now, okay, we should probably point out that 10 megabits per second for Netflix, not bad. You're going to be able to watch 1080p just fine. But, again...
You still can't do that.
Yeah, again...
Like, it's probably fine, yeah, but you still can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Under net neutrality rules, you cannot throttle. In fact, I'm super curious, actually. I'm going to turn off my Wi-Fi real quick here. I want to pull up fast.com and see what speeds I get. And then we'll run a speed test with the speed test app that I have on my device here. Anyway, you know what? It'd be interesting for you to do it too. To see what you get.
No, because I will probably drop.
On your phone? Using your cellular data?
Oh, no, I don't want to chew up data for that.
Okay, so I just ran one here real quick.
Actually, I already know about what I get, which is it's in the 70s-ish download. And I totally forget what
so here we go.
Upload speed was,
to be
honest.
I got a 10. That's what I got. 10 megabits per second.
You got a 10?
Yes, I got a 10.
And you have who?
I'm on Verizon's network. I am using my LTE data right now.
Huh. That's interesting.
Now, let's run
You know what? All right, let's go.
Now, let me run it with speed test here. So, we'll run the app here real quick. This is rather interesting. So, holy crap! Okay, want to take a guess? So this is the speed test by what company is this? I don't remember what company this is. And so we're looking at download speeds here because that's the important one. We don't care about upload speeds.
All right, we're on LTE.
Okay.
It went up to like 24, but now it seems to stop to around 18.
And what's this one on? Is this on like speed test dot? What is it?
No, this is on fast.com, like you said.
Okay, so you got a 24.
Nope, it's stopped at 18 now.
Okay, so you got an 18. I got a 10. Now.
Try it again, just for good measure.
Right? You know what? I should too. Now, running speed test, you know what I got for my download speed?
I'm on 16 now. Also, I have done speed tests. I get around 75-ish.
You get 75-ish? Wow. I got 100.
Good for anything, because it just means you can burn through your data cap faster. But anyway, yeah, I've got 75-ish on LTE.
On speed test for my LTE, I just got 121.
Megabits?
Yeah. No, megabits. Megabits.
Oh, wow.
I know. I was surprised, too. I was like, whoa. But still, like, okay. So, 121 on speed test. Let's go back to fast.com. If I'm only getting...
I mean, that's pretty conclusive. Like, you know, what is going on here?
Yeah, okay, I got a 14 for a moment. Okay, this one, it was 9.9. So, I'm getting about 10 on fast.com. So, there's definitely something going on here that should not be going on. Under net
really
neutrality.
Makes you wonder.
Exactly, yeah, okay. And this is comparable with what this says, where... and it says in some instances, so you're getting a little bit higher.
That's, awfully convenient how this is happening, especially when Netflix has been threatened and throttled by cable companies before.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this should not be happening. So I'm getting 10 megabits per second like this is saying. Let's see. So yeah, doing it on the speed test network powered by Netflix servers. Now, The Verge has reached out to both Verizon and Netflix for comment. Now, a Netflix spokesperson replied, "We are definitely not capping data on our end and don't cap data for any mobile networks." Now, this person...
Well, why would they?
Exactly.
I don't really have any interest in that, but you know who does?
Yeah. Verizon as an ISP.
Yeah. And
Now,
they have their own video service too.
oh, do they?
Now,
Interesting.
I'm not saying Verizon, would have good reason, incentive to do that, but it's plausible.
Yeah. The data that we just like the little test that we just did. Interesting. Now the person that wrote this article from The Verge says that they are a Verizon customer. They're currently on an unlimited data plan, and their own tests seem to confirm that something actually is going on, just like we did. Now, when they ran their test on Fast.com, they were hovering around between 5 and 10 megabits per second, like I am. Jumping over to Ookla's speed test tool, that's what it is. They were getting a more typical and faster rate at around 40 megabits per second. So, and there's a difference there.
Funny.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the vast majority of Verizon wireless customers would be unlikely to notice problems or experience any interruptions, of course, because that cap of 10 megabits per second, again, more than enough to stream 1080p video on Netflix, and a lot of people are probably not going to be streaming 4K, and I think even you have to have, like, a device that supports 4K anyways to be able to do it.
Ignore the fact that it's still very much workable. You can't do that.
Exactly, yeah. And that is the point right here.
You can't do that.
Under net neutrality, you can't throttle. That is part of the point behind it. You can't discriminate against certain traffic.
Like, I hate cable companies, so yeah, I really hope they get burned on this one because it's fun to watch them burn, to be honest.
You know what? And maybe what I'm
you think they're not going to do it again? No, of course they're going to do it again.
Yeah. What I'm hoping is, though, is that with the whole talk of net neutrality being a big thing right now, and hopefully more people seeing, or hearing about what Netflix is doing, or not Netflix, what Verizon is doing in terms of Netflix, and hopefully, if there really is something going on here, which it looks like there is, that Verizon gets burned for this, and hopefully it goes, public, and it just creates that much more, publicity as to why we actually need net neutrality and why getting rid of it is not a good thing.
I think you're right. Now, if they're going to do this, well, doing it now only hurts their case.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is great for us.
Exactly,
but,
yeah. And
there's no better time for us because we can just look and say, look, they're doing it right now.
Yeah.
Look what they're doing.
And,
do you want them to continue doing this?
And
because they'll be able to do it legally if you let the FCC continue.
Exactly, and you make a great point on that. It's like, okay, so Ajit Pai says we need to trust the cable companies. How can we trust the cable companies if they're already doing this?
Well, they are continuing to prove that we cannot trust them.
Exactly. How can we how can we trust the ISPs to do what is quote unquote well, not quote unquote. How can we trust them to do what's right when they're already not already doing what we're trying to prevent them from doing with it in place?
These are the same companies that have argued. They have said, we didn't even want to break the rules, so why are they here? Well, this is why they're here, because you totally did mean to break the rules.
And while
it's basically just straight up lying to your face.
Yeah, and while we're on the topic of net neutrality real quick too, with all of this going on, I totally forgot what I was going to say. I did what you did last week. It'll come back at some point. Anyway, until one or both companies provides clarification, it's a bit early to point the finger at Verizon. But last year, Netflix admitted that it had, for years, silently put a limit on the maximum connection speeds of AT&T and Verizon smartphone users. Oh, I totally remembered what I was going to say now. So you said that Verizon has their own video service kind of thing. And this is let's take...
I believe they do. I don't think anyone actually uses it.
Well, yeah, and
it exists. I'm fairly certain.
What my point is here, let's take an example like DirecTV, for instance, where they have the whole home DVR thing, and they have okay, well, that's a bad example. Let's take Comcast, because Comcast offers I think DirecTV does too. But anyway, Comcast is a cable ISP provider. They have their own like video services and stuff like that and things. So, it would make sense for them to, if you're thinking of a business model here, so I don't ding them for this, it would make more sense to throttle down Netflix and make it crappy so that you're more likely to go watch their content.
I mean, I find it weird though, because do people actually use Verizon's platform for this? I don't know anyone who does, or has even thought about using it. But I guess if they think they can increase their business by doing this, then clearly someone is using it, because I don't know. Otherwise, why would they do stuff like this? Maybe they want some money from Netflix. Who knows? I don't know.
So this is interesting. Last year, Netflix admitted that it had for years silently put a limit on the maximum connection speeds of AT&T and Verizon smartphone users, and the logic at the time was that most consumers were on tiered or bucketed plans or data plans, and Netflix was saving customers from themselves and expensive phone bill overages. Eventually, however, though, the company introduced quality control right inside of the Netflix app to give subscribers greater choice over their own quality preferences and data usage. And not to mention now the fact that you can download the stuff that you're watching for offline viewing. So, you're right.
Hey, I've never known that they did that in the past. So, okay, I mean, I guess that's good to know. It's not that they've never done this before, but I mean, I don't know. I still feel like, the case is mostly against the cable companies here.
Exactly. And there's some great points that they put in there. So, and I can see Netflix, like, wanting to, be the good guy.
It's good to consider that they've done it before. I mean, their reasoning makes sense, but you kind of have to read between the lines a little bit when companies talk.
That is the thing. But
although, I guess I don't really entirely see any good reason for them to do that other than...
Especially now with the fact that there's better management built into the app.
The only thing I could really fault them for is not being more transparent about that. Just say, hey, we've done this.
No,
this is why. If the reasons are good enough, people will be okay with it, right?
Okay, but here's an interesting question, though. Is it technically against the rules of net neutrality because they're not limiting...
I don't think it is for Netflix.
Because
Netflix is not an ISP.
Well,
Netflix is just Netflix.
That and the fact that they're not limiting the connection from the ISP to them necessarily. They're just limiting how much traffic comes back, I guess. And how fast it does.
I mean, I
so,
guess.
like, they're technically throttling themselves.
Something they're doing on their end. It's not really
exactly. So, is it then, like, an issue of net neutrality? It's not like... here would be a great example. It's like having a... I have a Western Digital NAS in my house that is only 10100. It's not gigabit. So it'd be like having this would be my scenario. And you can agree with me or disagree with me, Zach. But what I'm seeing is okay, so my router is my ISP, right? And I've got a gigabit connection. I'm not, throttling the connection to my NAS, but the NAS is throttling the connection back. Because it's only 10100, it's not gigabit.
It's like the interconnecting hardware cannot be the cause of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like your router treats everything that goes through it it's just there. It just goes through it. It relays stuff back and forth, whatever. It doesn't. Yeah. It does not discriminate.
Yeah, it's not discriminating. And what I'm saying is so I have a gigabit, router, right? I don't. All my stuff is 10100. But the analogy is that my gigabit router, so I, and let's say my computer has a gigabit connection to it as well. So my computer is running through the router is asking for the stuff, and it's not throttling it down at all. Well, it probably would through the wires and everything. But anyway, my point is that going to it is not throttling it. It is,
it's not throttling the traffic. The router is not doing anything.
Yeah, the router...
It's just not receiving as many packets back from the quote-unquote server, we'll call it.
Exactly.
Even though it's not really a server.
And that would be like the analogy that I have here with Netflix doing this, where, Netflix is throttling themselves. It's
Yeah,
not the
again,
ISP throttling themselves.
yeah.
So
It just isn't anything to do with net neutrality, especially since Netflix is not an ISP. They don't even really get covered by those.
yeah, exactly. That's right. So I think it's interesting that Netflix has done it, but I don't think it would be. I don't think Netflix is the one to necessarily blame on this.
No.
And again, like we mentioned, especially like 4K streaming now, but like if you've got better management built into the app itself for data usage, and again the ability to download your content, then what is the point of them throttling themselves at this point?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it makes a lot more sense because we've seen it before that Verizon would be the ones throttling that.
I believe the case the first time around was Comcast, or was it AT&T? It might have been both. I don't even know.
It might have
Probably
been both.
was.
I think I remember Comcast. Yeah.
AT&T's done some scummy stuff too, though. I remember they were
I
blocking.
think they all have.
They were blocking competing voice over IP software.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
It would basically give a free alternative to using your cell phone minute.
Yeah, I think they even blocked they blocked it and they were going to make people pay extra to use FaceTime, which okay, if you're on a Wi-Fi network, use your Wi-Fi connection.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, they just want people to burn through their data, so they pay for it,
Exactly. Now Verizon's, I did it again.
Verizon.
I think I was looking at the last part of it. Verizon rivals AT&T and T-Mobile include some level of video optimization, better described as throttling, as part of their base unlimited data plans. Can they do that legally under net neutrality then?
Say what?
This says that
Throttling heavy data users, you were saying?
Well, no. So this says that AT&T and T-Mobile.
That's common.
No, it sounds like they're throttling it, but it's like part of like the plan. It looks like.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, like in the contract or something?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they found a loophole.
It says.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's, I guess, either or.
Well, okay, I'll read this again. So Verizon rivals AT&T and T-Mobile include some level of video, quote unquote, optimization, which has better been described as throttling.
Right. Okay.
As part of their base unlimited
kind
data
of cut
plans.
out a little bit the first time you said that. I tried to infer, but clearly it didn't work. Yeah, they all.
But okay.
Sometimes though they. Well, I mean, sometimes they tell you, sometimes they don't. But again, I guess it's interesting to think about. Is it actually okay though?
Yeah, is it okay or does it violate what net neutrality actually says? That I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Now, this says Sprint does not, and Verizon has never given any indication that it would put a limit on video streaming speeds for unlimited customers. I smell BS on that. Or I call BS. Well, I call BS on it. But, maybe not. You know what, though? Like, what would be the advantage of Verizon? Okay, and maybe I shouldn't put this out there, but, if I am Verizon and I want people to burn through their data, why would I cap it then?
I thought the same thing when you said that. I was like, don't you want people to burn through their data cap so they pay more?
Why would I cap it then?
Burn through it so they pay more, right? I mean, I
get that you might.
I don't ever stream videos on my connection because I know I'm going to do that. But I'm sure people have accidentally done it, and now this makes you're basically making it harder for people to accidentally burn through all their data. Don't you want them to pay more? Hello.
Yeah, I could see and again we haven't confirmed this, but if Verizon does have their own and we could even go back to the analogy of AT&T, where sure people weren't using their services. But they're still on your network. They're using data on these more popular services. Why cap them when you can just take advantage of that?
And I think it's been largely shut down, but they zero rate their own video service. They say if you use our video service, it won't count for your data plan, And they, net neutrality just kind of said, no, you can't do that. Yeah, so I don't think they really do that anymore. But this is it's kind of if we can't have if we can't have it, then you can't either, you know?
Yeah. So to finish up with this topic here, without a direct comment from either, Netflix or Verizon, which it looks like Verizon has not contacted The Verge back. Interesting. Um, it, it's hard to determine exactly what's going on. It's difficult to know whether it's a form of intentional network oversight, an error or bug, or an issue on Netflix side of things, possibly. Now this says after weaving back and forth for some, Netflix returned as a strong defender of net neutrality in June, even while acknowledging that it's too big and too popular to be impacted by FCC Chairman Ajit Pai, or Ajit Pai's desire to basically abolish Title II and the net neutrality rules imposed under his predecessor. I don't know if that's actually true.
I think they pretty much are big enough that, if ISPs started messing with Netflix too bad, all the people who like Netflix are just going to be like, hey, what's going on?
No,
We'll take our money elsewhere if we can't have this.
I think what this is,
thing.
I think what that last, this is what I got out of that last paragraph was that, like, we shouldn't have to worry about net neutrality going away because it's such a big thing. And, like, Ajit Pai's, like, view on things is not going to be enough to stir people away from it. But I don't know. There, as we talked about last week, there are a lot of people who are fighting for the abolishment of net neutrality because they don't understand what it actually is, where what they really want is they do want net neutrality. They just think by abolishing it, it's actually what they want, kind of thing. So, again, knowledge is power. So, anyway. Yeah. I thought that was the and that's why I saved that one for last, but I thought that was kind of the big scandalous kind of story that was going on this week, and since we talked about net neutrality last week, I thought it was fitting to, talk about it this week, kind of thing.
Hopefully it bites them, because I'd love to see that.
Exactly, and that's what I said earlier. Hopefully this bites them in the rear end, and it just more,
please create more buzz for net neutrality.
Exactly. That's what I want. Create more buzz for, why we need net neutrality. Why we cannot BS Ajit Pai. I'm calling it right now. That, again, if ISPs are already doing these things right now with the rules in place, now, and it should be mentioned that we are not saying that because we don't have the information. We don't have the evidence to say that Verizon actually is or isn't. But if they are, and we've seen ISPs do it in the past, if they are throttling things down under the rules right now that say you can't do that, then why should we trust them?
Why should we take the rules out?
Exactly. Why should we trust the rules?
I mean, geez, clearly they're just going to do it anyway.
Yeah. At least with the rules in place, there is, a consequence for when they do it. And
not enough, I'd say.
I would say not enough. Yeah, they're going to, realistically, they'll get fined and stuff like that. But, at some point, if they keep doing it, I'm sure, and maybe they make enough money that it doesn't even matter, but I would imagine that at some point, Verizon is going to say, it's not worth it anymore. Kind of thing, maybe. I don't know.
Hopefully, I would sure hope. I don't know. Probably will.
So
be a while.
Yeah. So
I mean, what, they get paid a few million? Oh, great. That's pennies to them.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It adds up after a while, though.
I'm sure it does, but so does the make from doing stuff like that.
Yeah. So, like I said, and like you said too, hopefully it just creates more buzz for net neutrality and why we actually need net neutrality in place and everything. And as we talked about last week, please, 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 if you know, and we've been talking about net neutrality, talk to people about why we need net neutrality. Why it's not something that we can let go away. Because if it does, ISPs are just going to start doing whatever they want.
They largely already do whatever they want. They'll just do it more blatantly, publicly,
Yeah, exactly.
They'll be able to do it legally.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. In keeping a free and open internet, we need net neutrality. So... Anyway, with that being said, I think it is time to go ahead and end the Ram show for this week. What do you think, Zach? Anything you'd like to add?
Never.
Huh?
Never really. Never really. No.
Never
As
really.
usual, I got nothing.
Okay. No, and I think we got into a great discussion there on net neutrality. Oops. Now I'm just... You know what? Having a mechanical keyboard is awesome, except for when you double tap keys by accident.
Nope, never done that.
I just double tap my hotkey for switching between preview and program. So like it went to a single on me, it went to the double box, and then like single on me and double box again. Anyway, with that being said, we are going to end this episode of the Ram Show. Thank you so much for joining in. Definitely get in on the discussion about net neutrality with people that you know. Super important. Now, here's the thing. If you like the content that we produce, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. If you thought this was complete crap, you know what to do. Give it a thumbs down. And if you really enjoy the content, please make sure that you subscribe. I said a little bit earlier, but thank you so much for 30 subscribers so far. I'm kind of actually surprised that we've grown the way we have. So thank you so much for that. And of course, until next week, keep on loving tech, I guess. We need to come up with something like cool to say. Anyway.
That's on you.
Yeah, I'm the creative one on that. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us.